Number 6. The graph shows how many calories are in the store's best-selling candy. I'm going to stay on this slide and look at the questions on my PowerPoint and answer them with the graph. So number 6 says, select the numbers that correctly complete the sentence. The constant of proportionality is 0.07 or 15 calories per one piece of candy. So we are looking at unit rate. Remember, the constant rate of proportionality is your K, and K equals Y over X. So I'm looking at the graph, and I see right here where it says 4 and 60 is a perfect cross on the graph. So my Y is 60, and my K is 4. So my K equals 15. The second part of the question says there are 60 calories in and 4 pieces of candy. And then we added the question, what equation represents the relationship found between the calories and the pieces of candy? So remember, it's Y equals K times X. We said our K was 15, so my 15 is going to replace my K, so Y equals 15X would be your equation. Number 9, Lee mows 1/3 of his lawn and uses 1/2 gallons of gas. What fraction of the lawn can he mow per gallon? So lawn per gallon, so we're looking at unit rate. And with unit rate, we divide. So lawn will be 1/3 per gallon. So we're going to divide that by 1/2. Remember, for fractions, when we divide fractions, we keep, change, flip. So we're going to keep the 1/3. My division becomes multiplication, and my 1/2 becomes 2/1. Now I'm just going to multiply straight across. 1 times 2 gives me 2. 3 times 1 gives me 3. So my answer is 2/3 of his lawn per gallon. You could always take this to a repeating decimal, and then you will not have to flip. But remember, to do the 3 repeating, you need to go all the way to the end of the calculator. Number 13, Michael works at an electronics store. The manager tells Michael he wants to take 20% off a $495 television. If the television does not sell, the manager will again reduce the sales price by 25%. Michael tells the manager to reduce the original price by $45 because the sale price will be the same. Is Michael correct? So first of all, let's look at the manager. So the manager says we're going to take the $495 television and we're going to take 20% off. So since I am off means we're going to subtract. So I'm going to subtract 20%. So in your calculator, you'll put 495 minus 20 in the percent sign, and we get 396. Okay, so 396 is my sales price. Okay, the television doesn't sell, so the manager tells Michael to go back to the 396 and then take an additional 25% off. And that will give us 297. So the final sales price for the manager is 297. Well, let's look at Michael's. Michael said to just take 45% off. So we do 495 minus 45%. That's going to give us $272.25. So looking at my answer choice, Michael is not correct because they are not the same. So Michael's method has a greater effect on the sales price. The graph shows the relationship between the weight of pairs and the total cost of pairs. I'm also going to keep the slide on this slide and read the question to you. It says, what does point A on the graph represent? So looking at point A, here's point A right here, and it is 1, 2. So remember, my X means the weight of the pairs in pounds, and my Y is the cost. So looking at the answer choices, A says the cost of one pair is $2. Well, it's not just one pair, it's by pounds. So it's 1 pound is $2. Then it says the cost of 4 pairs is $2. That's not correct. And C says the cost of 1 pound of pairs is $2. Yes, that is correct. And then it says, what is the constant rate of proportionality of the graph? So remember, K equals Y over X. Oops. So K equals 2 over 1. So my K equals 2. And it said, which equation represents the relationship between the weight and the cost of pairs? Y equals 2X. So I'm going to mark my answers over here. So C, the cost of 1 pound of pairs is $2. And then for my K, Y over X, K equals 2 over 1, so K equals 2. What equation represents the relationship between the weight and the cost of the pairs? Y equals KX. I'm going to take the K and replace it with the 2, so Y equals 2X. Ryan completed 1/8 of his test in 2/5 hour. If Ryan's rate stayed the same, how much of the test was finished in 1 hour? So test 1 hour. So once again, we're going to do unit rate, and we're going to divide 1/8 divided by 2/5. Remember, fractions, keep, change, flip. Keep the first one, change my division to multiplication, and flip my 2 over 5 to be 5 over 2. Now I'm going to multiply straight across. 1 times 5 gives me 5. 8 times 2 gives me 16. So he finishes 5/16 of his test in 1 hour. (27) 6 years ago, Kelsey opened a savings account that earned 1.2% simple interest every year. She started the account with $600 and has not touched the account since. How much money is the account now? So it's been a while since we've done interest. So remember, I equals PRT. The principal, the rate, and the time. And remember, the time has to be in years. Okay? So it wants to know how much money is in the account. So first, we have to find the interest first. So the interest equals the principal. She starts off with $600. Time, I'm going to go to time next. And it said 6 years here. So this is my P. And this is going to be my rate. Times 6 times 1.2%. I am putting my percent last, so I can just put it straight in the calculator. If you don't want to put it last, you can always take it to a decimal and multiply it like it is in the equation. So my interest equals $43.20. We're going to take the principal, so you're going to take the P plus the I to get the how much is in the account now. So my principal is $600 plus my interest of $43.20, and that is going to give me $643.20. Number 32, select the box in each row to identify the equation that corresponds to the relationship shown in each table. So we need to find the K for every table. So remember, K equals Y over X. So looking at the first one, 9 divided by 27 gives me 0.3 repeating. And I know that 1/3 equals 0.3 repeating. On the second table, we have 9 divided by 18, which equals 0.5. So I know 0.5 equals 1/2 as a fraction. So I'm going to put that there. And then the third table, we have 15 over 10 equals 1.5. And I know 1.5 and 3.2 are equivalent to each other. So I'm going to mark it. Look at it. Number 49. Employees at the arcade are paid according to the number of hours worked as shown in the graph. I'm also going to say on this slide while I read the question. The question says, based on the graph, which 3 statements are true? A says if the employee does not work, they earn $7.25. So I'm looking here at 0 number of hours worked, $0. They're not going to make any money if they don't work any hours. B says if the employee works for 1 hour, they earn $7.25. So to see if that one is true, we have to find the unit rate. We have to find out what they make per hour. So I'm using this X and Y. So 36.25 divided by 5 gives me $7.25. So B is one answer choice. If they do work 1 hour, they earn $7.25. Okay, C says if the employee works for 4 hours, they earn $29. Okay, so it says 4 times the $7.25 gives me $29. So C is correct. D says if they work 10 hours, they earn $73. Well, if I'm looking at the math, 10 times $7.25 gives me $72.50, which is not 73. E, if they work 3.5 hours, they earn $21.75. That is not true. They will earn $23 and something cents. F, if they work for 7.25 hours, they earn $1. No, that's not right. G says if the employee does not work, they do not earn any money. That is correct. $59. Which table represents a proportional relationship? So for it to be a proportional relationship, all of them have to be the same. So when we do Y over X, they are all equal. So looking at the first one, we have -4 divided by -2 gives me +2. -3 divided by -1 gives me 3. Right here, I know A is not proportional. Okay, go to B. 2 divided by -1 gives me -2. 4 divided by 0 gives me 0. Nope, not proportional. So I'm going to mark that one out. Going to C. -6 divided by -2 gives me +3. Negative 5 divided by negative 1 gives me 5. Nope, that one's not proportional, so C is not it. Negative 6 divided by negative 3 gives me positive 2. Negative 2 divided by negative 1 gives me positive 2. 2. 2 divided by 1 equals 2. 6 divided by 3 equals 2. And 10 divided by 5 equals 2. So they all equal 2, so D is proportional.